Jason Momoa is often spoken about as if he were carved rather than born, as if the ocean itself shaped him into something half myth, half man, a figure too large for ordinary biography. The world sees him as Aquaman, the Hollywood warrior who commands the screen with a presence that feels almost elemental, but beneath that image is a life marked by displacement, struggle, and an identity forged between two vastly different worlds. He exists in contradiction, Hawaiian warmth and Midwestern cold, ancestral pride and modern fame, tenderness and violence, stillness and storm. His story is not one of smooth ascent, but of rupture, separation, and survival. From early childhood, he was pulled away from the land that shaped his earliest memories, forced into an environment that felt alien and silent compared to the rhythm of the ocean. That early fracture became the emotional blueprint for everything that followed. The characters he would later portray, warriors, kings, protectors, were not inventions but reflections of something already alive within him. Even before fame, there was intensity in him, a restless energy that did not belong in quiet corners. The world eventually recognized him as a cinematic force, but long before that recognition, he was already learning how to endure absence, how to carry loss without breaking, and how to transform isolation into strength. His life reads less like a Hollywood story and more like a long emotional migration toward identity. Childhood between Hawaii's waves and Iowa's silence. Jason Momoa's earliest years were shaped by the ocean of Honolulu, where sound, movement, and life felt continuous, like breath itself. Born into a household rooted in art and cultural identity, he was surrounded by creativity through his parents, who expressed themselves through painting and photography. But that early sense of belonging was interrupted abruptly when his parents separated, and he moved with his mother to Norwalk, Iowa. The shift was not just geographical, it was existential. Hawaii had been rhythm and warmth, Iowa became stillness and cold. Where once there was salt air and ocean wind, there were now endless fields and winters that seemed to erase color from the world. For a young boy, the transition created a deep emotional fracture. He carried with him memories of waves while standing in a place where water existed only as ice. That contrast shaped his inner world, creating a sense of longing that never fully left him. In school, he often felt like an outsider, disconnected from peers who did not understand the cultural and emotional distance he carried. Yet within that isolation, something else was forming: resilience. He learned to observe rather than blend, to endure rather than escape. That internal strength would later become the foundation of his on-screen presence, but at the time it was simply survival. The silence of Iowa taught him endurance, while the memory of Hawaii kept him human. The return to Hawaii and the struggle for survival. At 19, Jason Momoa returned to Hawaii, but he did not return as a child coming home. He came back as someone shaped by absence, carrying both ambition and uncertainty. The ocean welcomed him, but life did not immediately offer stability. He worked in a surf shop, handling boards and interacting with tourists who could not see the depth behind his quiet demeanor. Despite being back in familiar geography, he was still rebuilding identity. Financial instability followed him closely. There were nights when he had no permanent place to sleep, relying instead on benches near the shoreline. Hunger and exhaustion became routine companions, and yet he did not retreat. The ocean, once a symbol of comfort, now mirrored his internal struggle, beautiful but unpredictable. During this period, survival meant accepting uncertainty while refusing defeat. He lived in a constant tension between hope and hardship, unsure whether life would offer anything beyond temporary survival. Yet even in those conditions, there was a sense of purpose forming beneath the surface. Every struggle added weight to his character, every hardship sharpening his resolve. He was not yet an actor, not yet a public figure, but already someone learning how to persist when circumstances offered no guarantees. That persistence would soon become the doorway to everything that followed. The chance encounter that opened the first door, fate, often enters quietly, and for Jason Momoa, it arrived not as spectacle but as observation. While working in the surf shop, he was noticed by Japanese designer Takeo Kikuchi, who saw something in him that extended beyond appearance. It was not just physical presence but a kind of unpolished authenticity, a natural strength that felt lived rather than performed. That encounter led to modeling opportunities, marking the first time his image was shaped for an audience. Shortly after, he was named Hawaii's Model of the Year, a recognition that introduced him to the idea of being seen beyond his immediate environment. This moment was not just professional advancement, it was psychological validation. For someone who had spent years feeling displaced, being chosen meant something deeper than success. It meant belonging somewhere, even temporarily. However, modeling was only the beginning, a stepping stone rather than a destination. Soon after, he transitioned into acting, landing roles that would eventually lead to his appearance in Baywatch Hawaii. These early roles were physically demanding and often secondary in narrative importance, but they provided him with exposure and discipline. More importantly, they introduced him to the structure of performance, where emotion, movement, and presence had to be controlled yet expressive. The journey from surf shop to screen was not instant transformation, but gradual alignment between opportunity and readiness. Baywatch, discipline, and the early shape of an actor. Jason Momoa's time on, Baywatch Hawaii marked a significant shift in his career trajectory, moving him from modeling into structured acting work. The series, known for its physical demands and beachside aesthetic, required discipline, consistency, and endurance. Although the role itself was not deeply complex, it introduced him to the mechanics of television production, including long shooting schedules, character continuity, and physical performance under pressure. For a young actor still developing his craft, it was both training ground and exposure platform. He learned how to perform under direction, how to maintain energy across long filming days, and how to exist within a cast-driven environment. While the show brought him visibility, it did not immediately elevate him to stardom. Instead, it placed him in a transitional space between emerging talent and established actor. During this period, he continued to refine his physicality, often relying on instinct rather than formal training. His presence on screen was less about technique and more about natural intensity, something that set him apart even when the writing around him was limited. The experience also taught him patience, as success in the industry rarely follows a linear path. Baywatch became a stepping stone, not a peak, but an essential part of his foundation as an actor learning how to navigate Hollywood's expectations. Stargate Atlantis and the forging of a screen warrior. The role of Ronan Dex in, Stargate Atlantis marked a defining transformation in Jason Momoa's career, both physically and professionally. This was not a background role but a central character built around intensity, combat, and emotional restraint. The production demanded extreme physical conditioning, including fight choreography, underwater filming, and long hours that tested endurance. Momoa embraced the role fully, bringing a raw physicality that felt authentic rather than manufactured. His character became known for silence and strength, communicating more through presence than dialogue. Behind the scenes, however, the demands were grueling. Injuries, exhaustion, and repetitive physical strain became part of the process. Yet instead of breaking him, these challenges refined him. He began to understand his body as an instrument of storytelling, capable of expressing emotion through movement alone. The role lasted several years, providing him with stability in an industry known for unpredictability. It also solidified his reputation as an actor capable of embodying physically demanding characters with emotional depth. Ronan Dex was not just a role, it was a training ground for everything that would come after. Through it, he learned discipline, resilience, and the importance of consistency in long-form storytelling. It was here that the foundation of the modern Jason Momoa persona truly began to take shape. The struggle years between recognition and survival. After Stargate Atlantis, Jason Momoa entered one of the most difficult periods of his career. Despite growing recognition, roles were not immediately consistent, and Hollywood did not yet fully understand how to categorize him. He was too intense for some roles, too unconventional for others, and often overlooked in favor of more traditional casting choices. This led to a period of financial instability and emotional uncertainty. At times, he struggled to maintain steady income, relying on support systems to sustain his family. This phase revealed the instability that often exists beneath the surface of entertainment careers. Success in one role does not guarantee continuation, and visibility does not always translate into opportunity. During this time, Momoa experienced the emotional weight of uncertainty, questioning whether his career would continue or stall entirely. However, this period also reinforced his determination. Instead of stepping away, he began creating his own opportunities, eventually forming his production company, Pride of Gypsies. This move marked a shift from actor to creator, allowing him greater control over his artistic direction. It was a turning point that transformed passive waiting into active building. The struggle years were not wasted time. They were preparation for the larger opportunities that would soon arrive. Game of Thrones and the birth of global recognition. The role of Khal Drogo in, quote, Game of Thrones became Jason Momoa's global breakthrough, transforming him from a working actor into an international icon. Despite appearing in only the first season, the character left a lasting impact on audiences due to its intensity, physical presence, and emotional complexity. Drogo was not a traditionally expressive character, but Momoa infused him with depth through movement, gaze, and controlled aggression. One of the most defining aspects of his audition was the haka, a traditional Maori war dance performed with overwhelming intensity that immediately captured attention. This moment became symbolic of his entire career, raw, ancestral, and unapologetically powerful. After the role aired, global recognition followed rapidly, opening doors to larger projects and higher visibility. However, the sudden rise also came with challenges. Once his character exited the series, he experienced a period of uncertainty again, as Hollywood struggled to reposition him within new roles. Fame had arrived, but stability had not yet followed. This contrast between visibility and inconsistency highlighted the unpredictable nature of the industry. Still, Khal Drogo remained a cultural figure, and Momoa's portrayal ensured that even a short role could have lasting impact when delivered with full commitment and authenticity. The emotional collapse of career instability. Following the success of quote-unquote Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa experienced an unexpected downturn in opportunities, revealing the fragile nature of fame. Despite global recognition, he found himself facing a shortage of roles, with Hollywood unsure of how to utilize his unique presence. This created a period of emotional and financial strain, where stability became uncertain once again. He has openly acknowledged moments where survival became a concern, emphasizing the importance of family as his grounding force. During this time, he relied heavily on personal resilience and creative persistence, refusing to abandon his career despite setbacks. The experience exposed the harsh reality that visibility does not always guarantee continuity in the entertainment industry. Instead, actors often move through cycles of recognition and silence, depending on market demand and creative trends. For Momoa, this period reinforced the importance of self-driven opportunity creation. Rather than waiting for casting decisions, he continued developing projects and maintaining his physical readiness for future roles. The emotional weight of this period became part of his internal narrative, shaping how he approached later success. It also deepened his understanding of vulnerability, showing that even those who appear powerful on screen experience uncertainty off-screen. Aquaman and the transformation into global icon. The role of Aquaman marked the pinnacle of Jason Momoa's mainstream success, redefining both his career and the character itself. Prior to his portrayal, Aquaman was often seen as a secondary or less impactful superhero, but Momoa's interpretation reshaped that perception entirely. His version was not quiet or reserved but bold, physical, and emotionally grounded. Preparation for the role involved intense physical training, endurance conditioning, and extensive underwater performance work. The result was a character that felt both mythological and human, combining strength with emotional depth. When, quote, Aquaman was released, it became a massive global success, earning over $1.14 billion worldwide and becoming the highest-grossing DC film of its time. This achievement solidified Momoa as a leading figure in Hollywood, elevating him to A-list status. However, behind the success was years of preparation, rejection, and uncertainty that made the outcome even more significant. The film was not just a career milestone but a culmination of everything he had endured. It represented the merging of personal identity with cinematic mythology, where the ocean, once a symbol of childhood memory, became the foundation of his most iconic role. Love, loss, and the fragility of personal life. Jason Momoa's personal life, particularly his relationship with Lisa Bonet, became one of the most publicly admired, yet privately complex aspects of his story. Their connection began long before formal relationship stages, rooted in admiration that started during his childhood. Meeting her in adulthood felt, to him, like the convergence of destiny and memory. Their relationship eventually led to marriage and the birth of 2 children, forming what appeared externally as a deeply stable family unit. However, like many long-term relationships under public scrutiny, challenges gradually emerged. The pressures of fame, distance, and personal evolution contributed to emotional strain over time. Their eventual separation in 2022 marked a significant emotional moment for Momoa, who expressed deep personal impact from the change. Despite the separation, mutual respect and co-parenting remained central to their dynamic, reflecting maturity in handling personal transition. This phase of his life highlighted that even individuals perceived as strong and unshakable experience emotional vulnerability. Love, in this context, was not a fixed state but a changing structure that evolved over time, sometimes sustaining connection in different forms rather than maintaining original structure. Injury, pain, and the physical cost of a warrior image. Throughout his career, Jason Momoa has sustained significant physical injuries, many of which stem from performing demanding action roles. One of the most severe incidents occurred during a bar altercation in which he suffered a deep facial injury that required extensive stitches and left a permanent scar. This event became a visible reminder of how quickly circumstances can shift from ordinary to traumatic. Beyond isolated incidents, years of stunt work, fight choreography, and physical transformation have contributed to chronic pain in his joints, shoulders, and back. These injuries reflect the hidden cost of maintaining a physically dominant screen presence. While audiences see strength and invincibility, the reality involves long-term physical strain and recovery. At times, movement becomes deliberate rather than effortless, shaped by accumulated damage rather than natural ease. Despite this, Momoa continues to perform physically demanding roles, demonstrating commitment to craft even at personal cost. His physical condition represents the intersection of performance and endurance, where artistic expression is inseparable from bodily sacrifice. The warrior image he portrays on screen is not purely fictional. It is partially built upon real physical consequences accumulated over years of work in action-heavy environments, environmental activism, and purpose beyond Hollywood. In recent years, Jason Momoa has expanded his focus beyond acting into environmental activism, particularly in ocean conservation and sustainability efforts. His connection to the sea, rooted in childhood memory and cultural identity, has evolved into a mission-driven commitment to protecting marine ecosystems. One of his most notable initiatives includes the creation of Mananalu Water, a company designed to reduce plastic waste by using recyclable aluminum packaging. This venture reflects a broader philosophy of aligning business with environmental responsibility. In addition to entrepreneurial efforts, he actively participates in awareness campaigns, public speaking, and advocacy for indigenous rights and ecological preservation. His activism is not presented as separate from his identity but as an extension of it. The ocean, once a personal symbol of belonging, has become a shared responsibility. Through this work, he positions himself not only as an entertainer but as a participant in global environmental discourse. This shift demonstrates a transition from personal success to collective impact, where influence is used to support long-term ecological awareness. His activism reinforces the idea that fame can be leveraged for causes beyond entertainment, turning visibility into action. The man beneath the myth and the continuing journey. At 46, Jason Momoa exists in a space where myth and reality intersect, where public perception often overshadows private truth. He is seen as a symbol of strength, yet his life reveals vulnerability, endurance, and constant adaptation. His net worth and global success reflect industry achievement, but they do not define the entirety of his identity. Away from Hollywood, he finds grounding in family life, creative hobbies, and environments that reconnect him to simplicity. His interests in motorcycles, art, and nature serve as emotional anchors, allowing him to step outside the intensity of public expectation. Fatherhood remains one of his central roles, shaping how he defines purpose beyond career. He teaches his children values rooted in experience rather than fame, emphasizing resilience, connection to nature, and cultural awareness. His life today is not about reaching a final destination, but about maintaining balance between public demand and personal grounding. The boy who once moved between Hawaii and Iowa has become a man who carries both worlds within him. His story continues not as a completed legend, but as an ongoing journey shaped by memory, responsibility, and the enduring call of the ocean that first defined him.